Hi everyone, my name is Javi and I can draw, and just as I did Gambit's redesign yesterday, today I'm going to do the greatest hero of them all. I'm going to redesign Superman. First, I want to share with you some of my ideas about Superman. People's notion about Superman is that he's too powerful or too boring or too good. Most of the complaints always come from people that either never read a Superman story or they barely know their story. So in order to make Superman interesting, most of these people think that the way to approach Superman is to do a story about how he's the last survivor of his planet and how angsty that makes him. These people always talk about Superman as this guy who's trying to find his place in a world that doesn't understand him or want him there. And unfortunately, that is the grim vision that the movies decided to go with. Well, all of that is bullshit. Superman is not lonely. He was raised since he was a baby by two very loving parents. He had friends in school that are still his friends now that he's an adult. He grew up in a town where everyone knew each other and everyone knew him. Once he reached adulthood, he moved to the city, found a job, made a lot of friends in that job, and even found the love of his life. How can that guy be lonely? He's the friendliest guy in the world. He even has like the super friends. There is nothing, not even the fact that he is the last survivor of his species, that would make this man feel lonely or sad or alone in his world. And also, he's not even the last Kryptonian alive. If you ever read the comics or even watched the movies, you will see that there's plenty of other Kryptonians around in space. He's not some rhino in the middle of Africa that is just waiting to die and for his species to end. Superman was rescued from a culture that was destroying itself, so he could have the life that he would never be able to have home. Superman was not sent to help humanity, he was sent to humanity so they could help him. Superman is a refugee, and he wants to give the help that he received back by helping other people. So no, he's not angsty, he's not lonely, he loves people and he wants to help, and he just happens to have superpowers. For Superman, bringing a kitty down from a tree or stopping an alien invasion is the same thing. He's helping people. He's not a Jesus analogy, he doesn't watch the world from afar in some pose or something. He will always be on the street helping whoever needs him. He sees himself as a public servant and nothing more. If you ask Superman who he admires, he won't tell you that he admires Batman. He will tell you that he admires all the police and the firemen that are out there helping people, even though they don't have superpowers, they're just trying their best. So Superman shouldn't dress like an emissary from another culture. That is what Wonder Woman does. But just like Batman dresses as the creatures that he feared when he was a kid so he can instill the same fear onto others, Superman will dress as the people that inspire him so he can inspire others. Superman is a fireman, and also an everyman. He doesn't think he's a special fireman, he's just one of the rest. 5 years ago, DC Comics rebooted Superman, and for the first bunch of issues, Grant Morrison and Rax Morales gave Superman a costume that talked about a lot of what I'm saying. They made him an everyman. His uniform was a t-shirt, a cape, and some jeans, and that was it. Okay, so now that the rant is over, let's get drawing. Well, not really drawing because I already did all the drawings, but I still want to show you what I came up with. First, I want to show you the research. Since I was talking about Superman being a fireman, and just as an example, I was thinking about like Superman as a member of a rescue team, or, you know, as a part of the army or something like that, like a soldier, well, but not so much as a soldier, as a warrior, but member of a Peace Corps or something like that. So here what I have are some ideas from around the world and around history. I really like these really high belts for these firemen and the buttons. I really like these boots that were from like the army, I think, or they were called like desert boots or something like that. And what I also really liked in all of this are these reflective stripes, and I'm going to work into them because Superman doesn't hide in the shadows. Superman wants to be seen. He wants to be asked for help, and he wants people to know that he's helping them and that they can trust him. So I think that having these reflective stripes really work onto that theme. So here what I have are some ideas that I was working with. And this one, the first one, is like super fireman Superman. He's had the fireman pants, he even has the stripes there, and I thought it was a good idea to connect him to connect them to the cape. It also had the reflective bands here, and maybe I can make this reflective and this reflective. I think that this is just a bit too much and it looks a little bit silly, so I started doing some other designs. I really like the pants in this one. They can still have the reflective material here and keep the boots more sober. Just a regular belt holding the pants, and then just a t-shirt that has the reflective material here, and just a really flowy cape. This one I was thinking more, the third design I was thinking more about this belt that the firemen on the 40s had, and I also was thinking about the buttons on their suit, so I was thinking about adding some buttons here and here, also having the belt be big and at this height. And I gave him the high boots because I was thinking everything just a bit too up, and I wanted to see, because you know, Superman in his design, he has really high boots, so I thought, well, maybe I can try to incorporate them. But he looks a bit too much like Flash Gordon, which is a design from the 40s and 50s. So, you know, I was just going a bit too back in time. It looks like a design from like 60 years ago and not something that Superman today would use, which is what I'm trying to achieve anyway. And this final one that I also really liked, I like this too. And I made his suit, like I gave him some stripes so it can look more like high-tech or something, maybe just a little bit alien. And I just went full on fireman pants that they don't have, like, they don't follow the lines of the body, so they are really open here. So these two are the designs that I liked. But I didn't know if I wanted to just choose one of them or if I wanted to exchange the pants and see what was going on, so that's what I did. So as you can see, I made a mix here, and what I liked the most were the pants that weren't too loose. These ones are like the tighter pants, just a bit tight, and also the futuristic here shirt. And I thought that it was a good idea because if I gave him like the desert boots and the fireman pants, and the other half was more like alien or high-tech, I will be talking about these two halves of Clark Kent, like the alien part and the I just want to help people part. I thought that it really talked about the character. So the moment came and it was time to actually start doing some colors. I did a lot of color studies. I even on this one I tried to see if I could put some red in there because, you know, Superman has the red trunks, even though he hasn't been using them for a long time, but it's still, well, they're part of him. And, well, the things that I liked in is that, well, in this part, in these two here, because I'm keeping everything more blue, more like a traditional Superman suit, you can't tell that they're like some sort of fireman pants. They just look like there's some really loose pants of his uniform. It gives unity, but it doesn't like really sign it like you know, I'm not too bold on the changes. So I thought about maybe these black pants. That is something that a fireman would use, with the color stripes here and also the color stripes in the shape that maintain like this unifying sense, like all these silver stripes going up in the form. I also like this one. Here the belt is red, and here I made like this two color combination for the shirt to make it look like maybe more high-tech or more alien-y. But I also really liked this one with the pants not black or gray, but just dark blue. It made a difference, and it is something like more like police pants, and with the red boots, you know, just a bit brighter there. So I like those three. Here they are, and let me tell you what I think. I actually really like the three of them, and I couldn't decide. But in the end, well, between the belts, I have to be honest with you, I really like the yellow belt. I think that it cuts the figure in half, which is something that the red belt doesn't do. It doesn't mark a difference there, and I wanted that. And I'm not really too convinced about this two color combination. So I think it's just, you know, it's overcomplicating things when I can just keep it for regular blue and just be like that, like going for a bit more iconic. And well, the pants, I'm just fine with all of them, but I want to be a little bit bolder, so I will choose this one. Ta-da! This is the winner. This is my redesign for Superman. So remember what I was telling you about, you know, everything I like. Wait. I like him to have this reflective material so he can be found and he can be seen. That would also be on the S on the cape, so he can also be seen there, because if you think about Superman, like when he's not saving aliens, he's saving people from fires, or maybe rescuing like miners on a cave, or things like that. Having these reflective materials and having the S, you know, because the S can also be reflective, Superman can use that S not as just a symbol, as a part of the uniform, but as a badge. When you see him coming from afar in maybe a dark place, or if you're in rubble, if there was an earthquake and you need to be rescued, and you see a small reflective pieces, so you can call the person that is searching for you, and you see the reflective S, you would know that it's a badge. You know who is the one that is helping you. And this, you know, it really goes with the theme of this being a uniform of a public servant, as a force, as a fireman, as a police, or whatever. But just that because he is Superman and he is apart from the rest in its own way, he has his own uniform. But still, like, you could put him together with a fireman and they wouldn't look ridiculous. Like, you could have him, you know, that picture of the workers eating on top of the Empire State Building where it was being built. You could have this Superman sitting there with them just having lunch, and it wouldn't look ridiculous. But if you have like the Man of Steel Superman, the one from the movie, sitting there, it just looks weird. It looks like that Spider-Man that is on like Times Square making dances and then just stopping for lunch. It's a bit sad or weird. Like, everyone would be weirded out if that Superman sat with them. I didn't want that. I want someone who he could go into a shop and just get a can of Coke and pay for it and just go on his own way, and everyone would be okay with it. They wouldn't be like, Superman is here. I wanted him to look like something that it would be more approachable for people, because if he wants people to ask him for help, he needs to look approachable. And that's what I wanted to go with. So yes, he has the public force servant's pants here, the red boots to add a little bit more flair, the reflective material, and also this, you know, high-tech kinda alien shirt, because, you know, he is alien, and those are two parts of him that become one thing, you know, the powers and his origin and his legacy, and at the same time the longing or the want to help people like everybody else does. So that's Superman. That's my vision of Superman. So what do you think? Do you like it? Let me know about your opinion and what you think about not just the costume but Superman in general on the comments there. I really liked it, but God, I spent like 5 hours working on this. I gotta be honest with you. I thought I was going to make another video, but it's Friday already and I just don't have the time. But still, I'm really glad, and I had a lot of fun working on this character that I love so much. Well, that's going to be it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you like it, leave a comment, subscribe, all of that, you know what to do. Also, I have a Patreon now, so if you want to leave a coin, just go ahead and do it. My name is Javi and I can draw, and I know that you can draw too. I'll see you on the next week. Bye!